Hello. Um, I don't know if this is right on the right angle or not. Anyway, how's it going? Today here it is Wednesday. I had the day off today, but couldn't do what I needed to do or wanted to do. But that's life. But yesterday on my way home from work, yesterday was a public holiday here in New Zealand. It was Waitangi Day, which celebrates the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi in New Zealand, the treaty between the indigenous Maori people and the British Crown, who were starting to British people were starting to settle here around that time. Anyway, it was a public holiday, and I was coming home from work, and someone. Actually, it was just as I was leaving work. I was looking at Facebook, and I said before I'm a member of a few CD trading groups on Facebook, New Zealand CD trading, and someone put up a post metal. Or do you like metal? Or do you want metal? And I thought, I do like metal. And so I looked down, and it was actually a pretty decent uh, list of things. Not everything I'd wanted, but there was a few bands there, and it was a pretty big list of $5 CDs, and then another list of $10 CDs. Now I was in a bit of a rush for a variety of reasons, but I quickly looked down, and then as I was kind of just before I was leaving work, my car park at work to drive home, which is like a 25-minute journey. I sent a message to the guy, and I said, "Oh, yeah, I'll have, if possible, can I have this, 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 and this?" I named 6 CDs. In retrospect, I probably should have looked and thought about it a little bit more because there was actually a few other things there I wanted. But regardless, these are the six I asked for and got. $5 each. So $5 is what, $2.50 US. These are secondhand, obviously, but they're all in very good condition. Um, they're all CDs that you certainly would very, very rarely find in a secondhand thrift charity store. It would be kind of like a one in a million type thing. And even in a secondhand music store, which there aren't many left of, you wouldn't be finding them for this price for $5. They would be at the low end $10 and probably more like about 15 to 20 secondhand. And new they'd be around 30. So what have I got? Lamb of God, the Wrath album, which is from 2009, I think. Yes, 2009. Put out on Roadrunner. Lamb of God, Resolution. I'm sorry, I'm kind of trying to get the angle right on this. The camera is set up a little bit different than it usually is, and so I kind of feel weird. It's like it's this was 2004. Oh no, 2011. Was it? Also on Roadrunner. It starts with the song "Straight for the Sun," which is a pretty good album opener. First time I heard that, I was kind of quite I don't know, I wouldn't say blown away, but I thought it was a great song. Very simple song. Just starts off with a pretty intense scream by Randy Blythe, the lead singer, and a very kind of heavy, almost doomy um, guitar lick or riff, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of almost just very simple, kind of descending down, and then kind of like chugs in with juk, juk, juk through the verse, and then yeah, very simple song but very effective. And a third Lamb of God album, As the Palaces Burn. Now this is from 2004. 2000 is it? Yes, 2004. And this was put out on Prosthetic. This is before they signed with Roadrunner. Now I don't know a whole lot about Lamb of God as a band. You know, a lot of these I talk about these albums, and I know quite a lot of the history of the band and kind of the ins and outs and members who have come and gone and but as far as Lamb of God goes, I know very, very little of them. I know they're from Virginia, and I know Randy Blythe is the lead singer, and I think Chris Adler I think Adler, not Alder. Adler was the drummer. But I know there's been real line. It's a typical metal band. There's been a lot of lineup changes. People come and gone, and so I don't know how static the lineup has been over the years. No, they're still touring now. I follow Randy Blythe on Instagram. He's actually a pretty good photographer. He puts up some pretty interesting photos, and puts some pretty interesting, I don't know, blurbs, or what do you call it, like posts under the photos talking about different things. Some people might not like him, things he says, but I think he comes across as a pretty thoughtful and intelligent guy. And I guess I've heard Lamb of God music in things like, I remember in a video, I had a video game like fucking 20 years ago that had a Lamb of God song on it. Like, was it a driving game or a soccer game or something? And I've heard songs over the years many times, but I've never really sat down and listened to them a lot before about 5 years ago. And then like 5 years ago, I kind of listened to a lot of their stuff on YouTube and then Spotify. And I've been looking to buy some of their albums if I ever got the chance, and that chance arose. I don't know if these are considered to be their best, any of their best albums, or kind of just which one is considered to be theirs. I think this one here is considered to be one of the best, because the reason I say that, no, that's not right. Maybe it was another one. I was going to say that they are touring. They're doing a tour right now with Mastodon, and it's the 20th anniversary of. So what album would it be? If it's 20 years ago, so it's 2004. Well, actually, speaking of Mastodon, I'll show this one now. And maybe we'll come back, loop back down to Lamb of God. I got Remission. Now I own. Sorry, this goddamn camera angle is so goddamn awkward. I don't know what's going on. Why I can't feel like I'm kind of leaning to one side. I have what do I have? I have God, I can't think of the names of them. Crack the Sky. That was the first one I ever got. And then the one before that, Blood Mountain. I also have the Hunter. I don't have anything past the Hunter, like they did with the Emperor of Sand, Sand Emperor, or the Emperor of Sand, and Once More Around the Sun and things. I've listened to them, and I actually like a lot of songs of them, but I haven't purchased the albums. And then as far as the one, God man, my fucking memory. What's the one about Moby Dick? What's that called? That's going to drive me crazy. It's probably my favorite Mastodon album. It's certainly got one of my favorite songs on it, Hearts Alive, which is quite a long, it's like a 13-14 minute song. It's kind of, I don't know, I'm searching as I'm talking. Leviathan, God, it's like, honestly, listen through to that album 100 times. Certainly my favorite Mastodon album, one of my favorite albums of the last 20 years. And I'm like, can't even think of the name of it. Maybe I've got maybe I've got early onset dementia. But this is pre that. So this is 2002. Leviathan was 2004. So it's the 20th anniversary of Leviathan. And the reason why I was talking about that is because it's the 20th anniversary of some Lamb of God album, which I thought was this one, but this is 2011. So, and they're doing a tour together, Mastodon and Lamb of God, which would be a pretty fucking brilliant concert to go to. But then again, I've heard that Mastodon aren't a great live band. And I've actually watched some of their live stuff, and I've always been a little bit underwhelmed. And I'm not sure why. Maybe because like their studio stuff can be quite intricate, and a lot of kind of different layers of things going on, and I guess kind of recreating that live maybe wouldn't be that easy. But anyway, I have here Remission, and this is an album I never thought I would find. I don't think I've actually ever seen this for sale new, used, or otherwise, ever before. This album I downloaded probably about 13, 14 years ago. And like I said, the first album I heard of his was Crack the Sky. And I kind of fell in love with that album. And so I kind of went back and I kind of had different feelings about different things. I heard Leviathan, and I fucking loved Leviathan. Blood Mountain, I was kind of like 50-50 on. And then I heard this one, and I thought this is quite different, but also quite awesome. It's probably the Mastodon album I've listened to the least. So I'm glad to kind of have the chance to kind of go more in depth and have a decent, good listen to it, end to end, on my stereo system. So yeah, to get this for $5 is pretty awesome. And I noticed there, is that right? No, I don't. Sorry, forget what I said there. Okay, the Lamb of God album, its 20th anniversary, is Ashes of the Wake. So this tour, Mastodon, Leviathan 20th anniversary, Lamb of God, Ashes of the Wake 20th anniversary, and they're doing a summer tour in the US together. And special guest, Kerry King. Kerry King has got his solo band together. I just actually listened to the song he released yesterday. It was posted up on Blabbermouth. Sounds very much like Slayer, which is to be expected. He was the guitarist in Slayer and one of the main music writers. But he's even got the singer. The singer is, I can't remember his name. Obviously not Tom Araya. He's got him doing the same vocal affectations as Tom Araya. The way he kind of like the delivery cadence, or the way that he kind of phrases the things together. Oops, sorry about that. I've always thought Kerry King is a complete dickhead. He comes across as just a very unlikable person, very full of himself. Which, I guess, Slayer is a great band, and he was in it from beginning to end. But he's it just seems like a dick. And there's the thing he was talking about, the interview I was reading. I guess he did some kind of like bit of a press junket thing to go along with the release of the first song and the kind of, I guess, the announcement of this tour and the lineup in his band. Phil Demmel, the guy from Machine Head in the 90s Machine Head, I think he rejoined Machine later. He's in the band with Kerry King and is it John Dent or Paul Vostok? One of the ex-Slayer drummers, obviously not Lombardo, because he talked about Lombardo saying how he is dead to him. That's what he said about Dave Lombardo. He's dead to me, which is like such an overreaction. And then he said he hadn't talked to Tom Araya and hadn't texted or emailed him since the band ended in 2019. And he was almost kind of like, what did he say? He's not dead to me yet. But kind of yet meaning, but he could be soon if he doesn't. It's like, I could imagine not wanting to be a band with you, mate. You seem like a fucking complete prat. But anyway, sidetrack there. And the last two. So 3 Lamb of God, 1 Mastodon. Last two of the mid-era Soulfly albums. Now, Soulfly is a band that I guess I've got quite a bit of history with, at least their first 2 albums. The first album that he did after he left, after Max Cavalera left Sepultura in 1996, just after the Roots album came out, he started his own band, Soulfly, and released that first album. That one's kind of like a greeny, whitey cover with someone standing on the front with their arms outstretched. I think it's Max. And it's quite a new metalish sounding album. And then the second album was that, I can't remember the second album. Is the second album Prophecy, or is that the third album? The one that the second album, he did had a lot of guests on it. And I guess the one that I remember the most is he did with Corey Taylor from Slipknot, Jump the F Up. Also did one with Tom Araya from Slayer. The first album's got a lot of guests as well. He had like Chino from Deftones and Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit and a few others as well. I can't actually remember off the top of my head who else. Anyway, I kind of went off them a bit. Whereas I kind of went off new metal in general, I guess pretty early on, around 2002. I'd always already kind of done my dash and had kind of like thought, and now I've talked about this before. I can kind of go back and I can appreciate some stuff by Korn and even by Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park. I like Linkin Park, especially that first album of theirs. Deftones I wouldn't really class as new metal, but I still really like Deftones. Outside of System of a Down, are they new metal? I can still listen to them, but I guess kind of when you get into more second tier, like Cold Chamber or fucking Edema or I can't really listen to it. In small doses, I guess I can listen to Korn and stuff like that, but I don't want to deny it and say, "Oh, it's shit now," because obviously at one stage in my life I did like it, and I can't. I don't like to just kind of throw things into discard it and say, "Oh, that's shit now." It must have meant something to me at some stage, right? So there must be some value in it. Anyway, my point is that I stopped kind of listening to that stuff, new metal style metal, in the early 2000s, and Soulfly I kind of classed as new metal. However, actually quite recently, the end of last year, I was kind of listening to metal on Spotify, just kind of going through and had it on shuffle of different kind of more modern metal, and a few Soulfly songs came up. And one particular one called Ishtar Rising, I listened to a lot, and I kind of became a bit obsessed with it. Not obsessed, as in it's just one of those songs where I listen to on repeat, or over a few weeks I listened to it like kind of 10 or 20 times. That's not on these albums. That's I think on the Archangel album, which was 2015. Is that yes? These ones are a bit early. This is Omen from 2010, and Conquer from 2008. Okay, so like I said, kind of mid-era, where I think by this stage they kind of moved away. I think where was it? From Dark Ages. So they had Soulfly, Primitive. Primitive is the second album I was thinking of. 3 and Prophecy. So that's 98 through 2004. Those albums I think were the kind of new metal ones. But I think Dark Ages, which came out in 2005, he really went back to more of a thrash, old school Sepultura influence type thing. Certainly with some new metal elements in there. But so I've been kind of going back and listening to that older stuff. I obviously haven't listened to all of it, but some of the stuff I have listened to, I've actually been quite impressed with. So that's when I saw these. I thought, well, I've never actually listened to either of these albums. I don't think I've listened to any songs on these. So I thought I'd give them a try for $5 each. What's the worst that could go wrong? The worst that could go wrong was they'd be complete and utter shit to the point that I can't have them in the house and I got to throw them away. That's only $10 loss. I don't think that's going to happen. So that's some pretty decent metal in my opinion. I find I've said before that kind of the best way to find things for me nowadays is that on the Facebook groups. It's people are selling good quality stuff in excellent condition for a reasonable price. Most things people aren't going above $5. If it's because he had some things for sale for 10. There was a Meshuggah album, Chaosphere. In retrospect, I kind of wish I had actually bought that because I've been trying to buy all the Meshuggah stuff over the last few years. But I didn't want to spend $40. I guess 30, 40 is not a big difference, is it? But I guess mentally it is. But regardless, I'm pretty happy with those 6 albums for $30. The guy actually lived quite local. That's why I kind of went and picked them up instead of getting them posted. Seemed like a friendly guy. Was wearing a Slayer t-shirt. I was just talking about Slayer, wasn't I? He was wearing a Slayer t-shirt when I went to his door and he gave them over. So yeah, pretty happy with those purchases. 6 things that I actually really want to listen to and I'm kind of excited about listening to. in other news, I just got an email from YouTube saying that that last video I uploaded, the Soul Asylum one, I did it about 4 or 5 days ago. They are, or 3 days ago, they are going to remove it, or they have removed it. They said they have removed it, but I can see here on the video list it's still listed. I don't know if that means it is. So I said this while I was doing the video. I said I wonder if the album cover will be flagged because it features pictures of little kids, you know. And so in some ways I can understand, but there's other ways. I've played the YouTube video of like what's a song from Led Zeppelin from the Houses of the Holy album. And if you've seen the album cover of that, it's kind of somewhat similar. There's little kids playing on the rocks at the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. And I've seen that on there. So, yeah, I don't know how or why they exactly they choose this. I wonder if I put in, hang on, I'm just going to try something. So I just put the album Grave Dancers Union. I typed it into YouTube, full album, to see what image they use. And they use exactly the same album cover image as what I used on the video. And those got tens of thousands of views. 100,000 this one. So it seems to be a bit